The timing of this town hall is pretty extraordinary. Memorial Day weekend. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. We have some special guests that are joining us here today, and we wanted to bring in, because there's some great organizations, there's some people that work at this sort of thing every single day. And again, the timing of all of this was not lost on any of us. So we do have with us, one of our special guests today is Jake Schick from 22 Kill, a very, very well-known first responders outreach organization. Welcome in, Jake. Thank you so much, and maybe you can talk a little bit about what it is that you guys are doing over there.
Yeah, we actually work with veterans, first responders, law enforcement officers, as well as their families. And we started in 2012 as an awareness campaign. It's when the 22 Push-Up Challenge was birthed. And we picked up our 501c3 in 2015, realizing we needed to offer more in-house programming to empower these men and women to realize that life is worth living and to live well. For myself personally, obviously, you know, I didn't get these scars by trying to kill a pod of dolphins with a feather. This happened in the Sunni Triangle in Iraq, 2004. And being a third-generation combat Marine, you know, this battle has affected not only me, but my family and my close friends. I've buried 30 of my personal friends who've died by suicide. I know 8 that have been killed in combat. This is a particularly hard time of year for guys like me. You have a mental Rolodex that goes on and on. But one thing we've learned through our traditional and non-traditional therapy, treatment, training, and working with these men and women and their families is that the common denominator is the brain. The only thing that makes these men and women unique is they wore a uniform at some point or another. But make no mistake, these are human issues. These are human issues. And we're just utilizing a group of them to help stem systemic change across the world when it comes to looking at mental wellness and saying it's okay to not be okay. Because one thing that there's no Richter scale on is pain and suffering. And everyone on the spinning ball of chaos can relate to mental pain and suffering. Everyone. And as a warrior, living in the warrior culture, it's important for me to let these men and women know, hey, it's okay to not be okay. And the strong thing to do is to ask for help, because you're not going to win this battle alone. And so that's what we strive to do every day, and we're just honored to be a part of this and be here, because trust me when I tell you that this song has hit very close to home for the 22 Kill tribe. We've lost a lot of people, and we know we're going to lose more. But this song, in an amazing way, really feeds our soul to keep grinding forward, because we have ground to take and demons to slay. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you so much. We'll put up websites and social sites and everything like that. You know, speaking with Jake, or hearing him talk about the military, you know, this song, I think, has really, really resonated, you know, with the military and our troops, and the fact that it's Memorial Day weekend. Again, with the timing of this, you really, really have tapped into so many different audiences.
Incredibly blessed to have one of the most diverse fan bases that a band could ever hope for, and it grows more and more diverse with each passing year. And look, if you write about subject matter from your heart, and you make it a habit to wear that heart of yours on your sleeve in the form of the art that you've created, and you find that it actually translates to people in the way that you hope it would, it brings them some semblance of comfort, some semblance of understanding, clarity. It's really the ultimate achievement, and there's really no greater gratification. So thank you for your service and for everything that you and your brothers and sisters have sacrificed.
Thank you. Addiction, depression, PTSD, it's not just something that affects our soldiers. We know that it crosses all boundaries. All boundaries. We have another special guest here. Angela, I'm so glad you made it. Thank you very much. From NAMI, Educational Program Administrator at NAMI, National Alliance of Mental Illness. Welcome in, Angela. and tell us a little bit about what it is that you're working on a daily basis.
Well, I work for NAMI, which stands for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And I want to say first and foremost, our military families, the veterans that come back with both visible and invisible scars, do not always look for a banner that has the words mental illness included in it, because we know that these traumas, these experiences are really the underlying reason that lead to the depression and the post-traumatic stress disorder diagnoses and so forth. So we've created a curriculum in our organization called Homefront. But I want to say in the great state of Texas, I'm a Texan born and raised, we started this program even before Homefront. It was called Operation Resilient Families. And what NAMI does, we support the family members because we know that there are atrocities that our loved ones experience that they can never discuss, right? Around the dinner table. But we stand with our families. I represent a daughter of a veteran who came back with his own scars, undealt with the first family. I'm in the second family and holding on with white clenched knuckles. And we stand with the spouses and the extended family of our loved ones that try to kind of move forward in spite of. But how do you do that? We hear too many stories on a day-to-day basis where the soldier comes home, drops his suitcases, and there's no one in the house. The family has disappeared. What do you do? How do you start all over again? So our role is to kind of intervene and interject ourselves with that family and help families understand how best to stand with courage, dignity, and respect, maintain the family, keep the children secure, and give them the best practices and give ourselves skills so that we can weather this storm together. We do it better together, right? And so you can't do it without knowing what to do. You go to the doctor, you get a diagnosis, maybe. You go to the pharmacy, you get some pills that you may or may not take. But what do you do Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, all night during the night terrors, right? During the day with the panic attacks, right? In unexpected places. How do you handle that? How do you explain that to the children? So that's what NAMI does, and we do it through Homefront. The last thing I'll say about Homefront is when we rolled out the program, we tried to have classes. We couldn't get anybody to register. And I don't know why I didn't connect the dots from the Korean War to the Vietnam War to what's going on in Afghanistan and Iraq. And it's the same story. My family member doesn't want me coming to you talking about him or her around the table. What are you gonna say? What are you gonna do? So now we offer the class online. It's anonymous, you call in, it's free to the people that we serve, and you learn and you hear. You don't only hear the clinical aspects and best practices that are evidence-based, but you hear from people who have been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And I applaud you in this song because the reason I think it was so easy to kind of develop and push out is because it connects to the humanness inside of all of us. And it resonates with our military families. And I appreciate you for being here and just reminding us that it's gonna take all of us working together to kind of bring healing as a healing community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Outstanding, thank you. Again, back to the writing process of the song. You got a great song. There's no way to anticipate the ball rolling down the hill the way that it has.
I never.
I mean, again, when you're tapped in and you got, like you said, the lyrics and you're proud and you got something together. You can't ever anticipate a song outreach like this one.
You can't predict it, and it's not something scientific. It either hits you or it doesn't. It's not, there's not specific method that if you do X, Y, and Z, you're sure to reach all these people. It doesn't work that way.
The amazing thing to know that it's really hitting is anybody that's familiar with our catalog and the history of the band, we're relatively new, it's more of a hard rock band. So for us to step out and do something like this that's just so heartfelt in the live show, it's amazing to look out in the crowd and you see some of the same faces of guys that might be in mosh pit the song before, and those same guys are in tears the next song when we're playing this. So it's really hitting home with an audience when they're not afraid to show it, that they have their own demons.
I think that's the key, is not being afraid to show it. and you hit on something very important. Loneliness and solitude is the killer. It truly is. When you are left to wrestle with your demons by yourself, more often than not, they tend to win. And having friends, family, a support base that's there for you, that understands, or at least tries to understand what you're going through, is so incredibly important. I can't stress it enough. And so when you have a room full of 4, 5, 10, 20,000 people, and we beckon them to raise their hands, whomever struggled with the demons of addiction and depression, and when nearly the entire room raises their hands every night. I always ask, have you yourself struggled with it, or do you know someone that has? And the entire room raises their hands, and it's a mind-numbing sight. And I think creating that sense of safety, of knowing that you're not alone, of knowing that there are other people that struggle with it, is a tremendous saving grace. You know, these addiction and depression have for far too long been stigmatized. You know, people think that you only need to be strong and you'll persevere. Well, it doesn't matter how strong you are, cancer will kill you. And it takes people to intervene, to be the chemo, to be something that slows the progression, to be something that tries to kill the cancer. It takes a community. So just try to remember that.